Hi there, Smart Driver. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking today about how to use cruise control. I had a comment from Jenny D. She wanted some more information about how to use cruise control because I had mentioned it in one of the other videos. Cruise control has several benefits and you want to use it because it will give you better fuel economy for your vehicle. As well, it'll reduce stress and fatigue over a longer trip. And finally, in any case, it always moves to reduce distracted driving. Stick around, we'll be right back with that information. Hi there, Smart Driver. Welcome back. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you today about how to use cruise control. And yes, you do want to use cruise control because there are several benefits to using cruise control. The first benefit is that you're going to get better fuel economy because you're maintaining a steady speed with your vehicle. And when you get better fuel economy, that means more money in your pocket, so you want to use it for that purpose. The second reason is that it is going to reduce stress and fatigue over a longer drive because you're not running up on other vehicles and those types of things and having aggressive use of the primary controls and, you know, cussing and swearing and banging on the steering wheel because other vehicles aren't going as fast as you would like them to. And finally, it reduces distracted driving because you're not always monitoring the speed of your vehicle because you have it on cruise control and you know that you have a set speed. Now, one of the things about cruise control is a lot of people say they don't feel that they have total control of their vehicle. And I can only imagine what those people are going to be saying when they get in one of these self-piloting vehicles, when they have to sit in the driver's seat and they feel like they don't have control. Cruise control gives you a fair amount of control compared to a self-piloting vehicle. Anyway, I digress. One of the key techniques to using cruise control is that you want to set the speed at a couple of kilometers or a couple of miles an hour less than what the traffic flow is. That way you're not going to be running up on vehicles and having to turn your cruise off and on all the time. If you set it a couple of kilometers less or at what the traffic flow is on a multi-lane highway, the other traffic is just going to flow around you and you stay in the right-hand lane. So that's a key technique to using cruise control and not having to turn it on and off all the time. Now, the other thing that people say to me about cruise control is when they get out on the freeway, they always have to turn it off when they're passing another vehicle. The reason for a freeway and a multi-lane highway is just so that you can maintain a steady speed. When you're passing other vehicles, don't turn the cruise control off and then speed up. That negates the benefit of having cruise control. Just leave it on the constant speed. If you're doing 2 or 3 kilometers an hour more than the other vehicle that you're passing, just go out into the passing lane, pass the other vehicle, and move back into the right-hand lane when you get past them. So that's the keys to using the cruise control. Now, all cruise controls are essentially the same. They have an on-off switch, as you can see here in the image. As well, they have a set and a resume. And the set button is the deceleration button, and the resume button is also the acceleration button. You can essentially drive the vehicle with the cruise controls. Now, when you get it up to speed and you want to set the speed, say for example at 90 kilometers an hour, 55 miles an hour, you simply hold your foot on the throttle, push the set button after you've turned it on, obviously, push the set button on the cruise control and it will set and it will operate at 90 kilometers an hour or 55 miles per hour. Now, if you go through town and you touch the brake, the cruise control will disengage. When you go through town and come out back on the other side and you want to go back up to 90 kilometers an hour, 55 miles an hour, you simply hit resume again once you get a little bit of speed and it will go back to that previous set speed. Now, the other thing is if you want to decelerate, you can simply hold down the set button and the vehicle will decelerate in speed so long as you hold down the deceleration button. The other thing is that the resume button, you can hold it down and the vehicle will accelerate as long as you hold that down. Now, the one thing that people often don't know about the cruise control is the resume, the acceleration button. If you click it one time, for every time that you click it, it will go up 1 kilometer an hour if you're in a country that works on metric. If you're in the States, it'll go up 1 mile an hour. And it's the same with the set button, the deacceleration button. Every time you click it, it will go down 1 kilometer an hour, 1 mile per hour. So for example, if you want to set it at 55 miles an hour and it's at 58 miles an hour when you set it, you simply click it 3 times, the vehicle will decelerate to exactly 55 miles per hour. Now, some of these newer pickup trucks and commercial vehicles, if you have it on cruise, when it goes downhill and it goes up 5 or 10 kilometers or 5 miles an hour above the set speed that you have it on, the Jake brake will kick in automatically. The engine brake will kick on. So know that if you're driving an older commercial vehicle or you have a newer pickup truck, it will do that as well. So what we're going to do here, we're going to go out on the highway and we're going to work the cruise control, and we're going to show you how it works. As well, I've got a camera set up on my speedometer, new and improved, how to use the cruise control, and we'll show you how to do that. Everything going well, you'll be able to see the speed as well. Hi there, smart drivers. We're out on the highway here and we're talking about how to use cruise control, and I have my cruise control set on 90 kilometers an hour, which is 55 miles an hour. And on this vehicle, the speedometer's off a little bit, so it's just a touch over 90 kilometers an hour, which is exactly 90 kilometers an hour on this vehicle. And you can also see on the dash that there is an indicator there that tells you that cruise control is in fact on. On this Honda, it's a green light and it says cruise control. Different vehicles will have different indicators on the dash to tell you that you have the cruise control set and it's on. And you can see here in front of me that I'm doing 90 kilometers an hour, exactly the posted speed limit, which most of the time is going to be less than what the traffic flow is. And you can see here that I'm keeping a good distance in front of me. That vehicle in front of me obviously is doing the speed limit as well, the white vehicle that the pickup truck just passed. And oftentimes if you put the cruise control on the posted speed limit, the other traffic is just going to flow around you. And you're not going to have to pass, you're not going to have to speed up and those types of things. Now, one thing I do want to show you here, oftentimes when people get out on multi-lane highways, they negate the benefits of cruise control, which is improving fuel economy, because they turn it off and on all the time when they pass other vehicles. When you're on a multi-lane road like this and you're passing that vehicle as I am right now, you just leave the cruise control on, move out to the left-hand lane and stay in this lane. You don't have to accelerate past the vehicle, because as soon as you accelerate, you negate all of the benefits of the increased fuel economy. Unless there's a whole pile of vehicles behind you, you just watch in the rearview mirror. There isn't anybody behind me, so there's no hurry for me to get by that car. And now I'm by that car, I can see him in the rearview mirror here, and I just put my signal on and I move back over to the right-hand lane. I don't hang out in the left-hand lane. Leave my signal on all the way into that lane. And cruise control, you never came off cruise control. You're not stressed out, you're not fatigued. So just leave cruise control on a multi-lane road, just move over to the passing lane, pass the other vehicle, and then as soon as you get past, get back into the right-hand lane. That way you get the full benefit of cruise control. Now, as I mentioned earlier, cruise control has 3 buttons. It has an on-off switch. On the Honda here, it's on the dash. On different vehicles, it could be on the signals where the controls are for the cruise control. A lot of times it's on the steering wheel here. On this one here, it has a resume and a set, so when you get it up to speed, so the speed limit here is going to go to 100 kilometers an hour. So instead of pushing down on the throttle and resetting it, I just hold the resume button, which is also the accelerate button, and you can see that as long as I hold that button, it's going to accelerate. You can see that the speedometer is climbing and it's going to go up to 100 kilometers an hour. And as soon as it just gets a little bit past 100 kilometers an hour, right about there, then I just let go of the resume button and it will set at that new speed. And as well, if I wanted to slow down, if there were vehicles in front of me, I could see down and I saw the gap between the vehicles slowing down, and I wanted to decelerate, I just push the set button and that vehicle will, the cruise control will slow down as long as you hold that button. So now it's at 90 kilometers an hour, and now it will set at that speed, as you can see on the speedometer. As well, if I accelerated back up to 100 kilometers an hour, I hold down on the resume button, the acceleration button, it will accelerate for as long as I want it to. And say, for example, I wasn't paying attention and I set it right there. Now it's at about 102, and I wanted to go back to exactly 100 kilometers an hour, which is 62 miles an hour. I just hit the deceleration button, I click it 2 times, and it will decelerate 1 kilometer per hour or 1 mile per hour, depending on which country you're in, for every time you click it. It's the same with the acceleration. If I wanted it to go up 1 kilometer an hour, 1 mile an hour, I simply click the acceleration button 2-3 times, And as you can see here, every time I click it, it goes up 1 kilometers an hour. So now I'm doing approximately 105 kilometers an hour. Same thing with the deceleration. If I click that, every time I click it, it goes down 1 mile per hour. And it works the same on every cruise control, whether it's on a car, a bus, a light truck, or a big truck, a commercial vehicle. All of the cruise controls work the same. Every time you click that, it will go up 1 mile an hour or 1 kilometer an hour. Now, the other thing, the cruise control, if you're driving a manual transmission, as soon as you touch the clutch, the cruise control will disengage. So I just touch the clutch and you can see that it starts to decelerate because I have disengaged the cruise control. Now, if I push resume, it'll go back to the set speed that I had it at previously, which was 100 kilometers an hour. Now it'll climb back up to 100 kilometers an hour. Not very quickly in this vehicle. There's a little 4-cylinder, and we're on a bit of a hill here, but it will climb back up to 100 kilometers an hour. As well, if you're driving an automatic vehicle, you touch the brake and make a brake application, it too will again disengage the cruise control. So it will disengage. So it's connected to the pedals, and then you just hit resume. Now the other time that you hit resume is if you come into a town or whatnot and you touch the brake, it will disengage the clutch. You meander through town and then you come out the other side and you want to reset it again. Just bring your speed back up to around where you had it previously, and then hit the resume again and it will resume again. So that's how you use cruise control. And as I said, cruise control on all vehicles is essentially the same. It has 3 buttons: an on-off switch, set, resume, accelerate, decelerate, and often the set and resume button are the decelerate and the accelerate button. Some cruises will have a cancel on them, but that's rare and probably found on newer vehicles. Quick review of cruise control. All cruise controls have 3 buttons. They have an on-off switch, they have a resume switch, and they have a set switch. The set switch is also the deceleration button, and the resume button is also the acceleration button. The decelerate and accelerate button, if you hold either one of those for as long as you hold them and you have the cruise set, it will either accelerate or decelerate the vehicle. If you click one of those buttons, however many times you click it, the vehicle will accelerate or decelerate the number of miles per hour or kilometers per hour that you have clicked the button. As well, if you touch the brake or touch the clutch, if you're driving a manual transmission while the vehicle is on cruise, cruise will automatically disengage. So know that. Know that if you use the throttle and you accelerate and pass another vehicle, for example, that the cruise will not disengage when you use the accelerator. So if you let off the throttle, it'll go back to the set speed that you had previously. For example, if you're driving on the freeway at 60 miles per hour and you accelerate to pass another vehicle at 70, as soon as you let your foot off the throttle and you haven't canceled the cruise using the buttons, then the vehicle will go back to the set speed of 60 miles an hour. So just keep that in mind when you're using cruise control. 3 benefits to using cruise control: increase fuel economy, and again, that is going to be negated if you're accelerating all the time to pass vehicles on a multi-lane road. Just leave it on cruise. As long as vehicles aren't piled up behind you, you could just leave it on cruise, go out into the passing lane, pass that other vehicle, and then move back over into the driving lane. For those of us that drive on the right-hand side of the road, we're going to move back to the right. For those of you who drive on the left in Australia and UK, you're going to move back over to the left lane. As well, on longer trips, it's going to reduce fatigue and stress because you're not having aggressive use of the primary controls all the time. You're going to be nice and relaxed, and when you get there at the end of the day, you're not going to need a massage and you're not going to need a psychologist. And finally, cruise control reduces distracted driving because you're not monitoring your speed all the time. And the key technique to using cruise control successfully: set it a couple of kilometers, a couple of miles an hour less than the traffic flow. That way you're not running up on traffic all the time. That is the key to using cruise control successfully. Question for my smart drivers: do you use cruise control? Do you use it a little bit? Do you use it every now and again? Do you use it kind of, whenever you get out on the highway? Or do you use it a lot? Or you're kind of an obsessive user like I am? Leave a comment down in the comment section there. All that helps out the new drivers learning how to better use the controls on their vehicle after getting their license. I'm Rick with Smart Drive Test. Thanks very much for watching. If you like what you see here, share, subscribe, leave a comment down in the comment section. As well, hit that thumbs up button. Check out all the videos here on the channel if you're working towards a license or starting a career as a truck or bus driver. Lots of great information. Stick around to the end of the video. Some funny stuff, and all the links to the other videos and the link to my website where you'll find more great information. Thanks again for watching. Good luck on your road test. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great day. Bye now. Just give that a quick test before we carry on. Take 3 of the cruise control video conclusion. The first one was dark and the second one was out of focus. So we're doing it in the studio.